Hi, y'all. I'm Shannon Mitchell, a Black millennial entrepreneur and Amazon bestselling publisher, author, and all-natural product manufacturer. I'm a champion for your natural self-care, sustainable business care, and overall intentional wellness.
Hey, y'all. I'm Christine Gautreaux, a white social justice advocate, an international speaker, coach, published author, and dancing social worker who helps you upgrade yourself and community care.
Together, we are a podcast rooted in the 8 dimensions of wellness and the co-founders of the Women Connected in Wisdom community.
And we like to get together every week for intentional conversations between us and special guests about how to be wise in business, relationships, and wellness.
I scroll through our pages. I'm like, oh, we look like we're having so much fun dancing. We do have fun dancing.
We do have fun dancing. I love to dance it in. I love to, it always just reminds me, I do it with my clients and I also do it with myself and my colleagues. And I'm lucky enough when I do business meetings with a lot of folks, like we dance, we move, we stretch, we breathe, we're embodied, right? And even if it's just for a second or a minute, like it reminds me of how it's good to take dance breaks. It's good to
Yes.
just have fun. And so, hello.
Yes. Hello, beautiful.
How are you?
I am grateful. Grateful. Today we're talking about financial wellness. And I think about how you always say, oh, this is Shannon's favorite, one of my favorites. I love all of them. But I'm super excited to finish all of these books this year. My reading goal is to finish the books that I'm reading, and there's a list of them. So financial wellness is one of those centered topics of like literacy and education that I'm working on.
Right. Well, it's a good time to be talking about it as we start the second quarter, starting April. Taxes are coming up for most people in America. So it's a good time to be talking about it and to be centered and present and having self-care around it, right?
My goodness.
I think.
Oh, yeah. And I would love to talk about it.
I wanted to add on to my intro today.
What?
I wanted to add on poet because I'm a poet and it's National Poetry Month and our special guest is a poet. And the words wanted to come out and it's not an official part of our intros.
It's so many things, I need to put, what's funny? I don't know if we talk about it. I just let you say that you're a poet. I write poetry too. Now, y'all, mine might not be that good though. I did this spoken word thing and out the cadence, the rhythm. It's a skill. Okay. But
it's a skill.
Poets, it is poetry. What is it? International Poetry Month?
It is. We, last time we did poetry together was for Joe Vantrius's, Dr. Joe Veazey's event in Duluth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I always heard about that picture. Y'all, we had the Speakeasy, the first one in Duluth, right? Am I wrong? I think it was the first one that they had in the downtown area. And yeah, Shay knocked it out of the park. I was impressed with the cadence, the deliverance, y'all. Mine, the voice, everybody comments on my voice. This is not intentional, okay? I did not build the vocal cords. So I'm super excited to have our guest on that we're about to bring up before our expert guest, and we'll see how we flow with this episode. But I'll let Christine take the floor because she's the one who connected us to this amazing surprise that we're about to have for y'all.
Well, let me just tell you, an email came across. We've talked about Alternate Roots on the show before. It's an organization for artists and activists, and I've been a voting member, I think 8 years now. I love this organization. And this email came across about an upcoming event at the City Winery. And it is a poetry event that is, y'all, going to be amazing. And so Queen Sheba is coming on. We're going to, and Floacist, let's bring her on the stage and say hello.
Hi.
Blessings, greetings. Lovely to hear about all we're often poets so I like how the poet title had to rise up. And you know what? It's so important to write. So I'm just happy that you write. Writing doesn't mean that you have to perform,
Let them know. Thank you for that. Nice to meet you, Floacist. Thank you for being here with us.
Tell us about this upcoming event that's happening in Atlanta at the City Winery, but it's a whole tour that y'all are on, right?
This is quite a historic situation. So you have myself, the Floacist. I'm an original member and founder of Floetry, 8-time Grammy nominated, 1-time winning. You have Marsha. Sorry, she was going to crack up when she hears I did that. You have the incredible Queen Sheba, 2-time Grammy nominated, and just keeper of the community. Such a deep aspect of the spoken word community in the US, particularly in Atlanta. And we've come together. We've created this I would say show, but it's truly more so a movement. We're in the beginning stages of something that feels very intentionally, purposefully aligned for moreness. Okay, so what we're starting off with is this tour, which is a live album recording. Okay, we're celebrating all things spoken word. Obviously, we've set this tour for National Poetry Month. Now, it's a funny thing because we're being quite audacious, but that's what we do, right? When it feels right, when it aligns, that's what you do. And it has come from such an organic, special place. Sheba and I's alignment and our conversation, which literally, is she there? She's going to second me on these things, has turned into this tour. Okay. And this tour kicks off in Atlanta on Monday. Atlanta was the first place I came to when I brought Floetry to the US. So it's beautiful to be starting back off there again. That was 25 years ago. In April, same month, 25 years ago. And we are doing something special. We're supported by City Winery. We have 6 City Winery dates, 2 non-City Winery dates, 1 National Poetry Month date, which is in May. I'll let Sheba do that because she's better than me at that with all the dates. But we're celebrating all things poetry. We have local poets who, I say local, everyone repping their cities. Everybody's so deeply invested. In Atlanta, we have Georgia Me, right? That just goes without saying. But Sheba and I both have very, very special sets that we have set up. There will be a couple more openers from the local community. We're just supporting all things spoken word, all things poetry, and we're just doing something real special.
Oh my gosh. I can't wait. I am so excited. And we're going to put all of this in our show notes. We are going to connect people to the show. And here comes Queen Sheba.
There she goes. Red bottoms.
Welcome to the stage. Yes, come on. Red bottom nails. Celebrating.
I'm always extra, even for alternate roots. I'm always extra.
I love it.
Is it extra? I don't even call it extra. It just is what it is.
Just is what it is. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know about having, I'm going to have a special set, but it's not going to be memorized. My brain is fried from putting all this together in 30 days. Yes.
Wow.
Put all this together in 1 month.
Literally.
Well done, y'all.
No, for real. And we know about it.
It's been amazing.
Right? That is not easy.
We're going to share it with our whole community. Oh, I think there she is. We're going to share it with our whole community because we are so excited about this, y'all. We're excited about y'all being in Atlanta. We're excited about being connected. I don't know. I'm just like thrilled to hear some of y'all's poetry. Y'all have a little bit of something y'all could share with our audience to get them warmed up for Monday night?
Go ahead, Flo. What is it, midnight?
I was going to say, go ahead, Sheba. I was going to say, go ahead, Sheba.
I'm about to go for a run with my friend Charlie here. Charlie, turn around. Say hi. Charlie. Say hi.
Oh, Charlie's the puppy. Hi,
Charlie.
Hi, Charlie.
Yeah, I take her everywhere with me. She's my emotional support dog. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. We have been getting ready. I don't want to bail on not doing anything for National Poetry Month, but I do want to encourage everybody to come out. It is 5 hours ahead for Floacist, and we have definitely spent the last 30 days putting a whole organization together planning for a festival, planning to go to WNBA All-Star Weekend in July, Black Gay Pride Weekend for September, plus going on a whole tour in June and a whole tour that starts April 7th all the way to May 4th. Yes, we do start in Atlanta. Yep. Then we go to plus retreats. Then we go to Philadelphia. Then we go to Boston. Then we go to Nashville. Then we go to St. Louis. Then we go to Chicago. Then we go to Durham. And then, Chicago. Then we go to Durham. And then we go to Greenville, South Carolina. And then after Greenville, we have an all-women's riding retreat. Only 10 lots are available. It's available right now on Eventbrite. And you do have to fill out an application. We want to make sure nobody's going to murder us in our sleep, since we're inviting strangers from all over the world. Yeah,
Not allowed.
Not allowed. Not allowed for murder. I watched too many murder, Spain, murder, British murder shows.
Right.
You got to answer a couple questions before you come on the writing retreat. But we're going to have sound bath, yoga, running, stretching, mental health, of course, writing. We're going to have breakout rooms. It's all going to be completely catered. And of course, we're going to adhere to people's dietary restrictions, all those things. So we like to call it Lux. We don't, everybody's version of luxury is different. So it's a Lux writing retreat. And we're going to do at least 4 before the end of the year. And we're starting in May in the very beautiful Greens of North Carolina. And then we'll be doing one in Indianapolis for the WNBA weekend. And then we're going to be doing another retreat in Atlanta. And then I don't think we've decided where yet for October, November, but definitely come out Monday. I really appreciate you ladies for having us on, because I don't think that National Poetry Month gets celebrated as much as it should. But the Alternate Roots Network is very popping. So I appreciate you both speaking up and, shouting us out. I really love that.
Right?
Absolutely.
I agree with you about National Poetry Month, and that to talk about it more. Like, almost everybody I know is a poet, and they don't talk about it very often. One of our now ancestors, Dr. Doris Davenport, I don't know, Queen Sheba, if you knew her through Roots, she transitioned this past year, but whoo, girl, I got my tail chewed out. She had known me for a couple of years, and something came up about poetry, and I'm like, "Oh, yeah, I write." And she's like, "Excuse me? How did I my just finding" No, no, ma'am. We do not hide that light under a barrel. Like, if you are a poet and you are a writer, you need to be sharing that with people. And, so I always think about that, because woo, it was like, nope, like, you're not allowed to hide that, because it's so much of who we are when we write and we're poets.
Yes.
Absolutely. Yes.
And Queen Sheba, I wanted to ask you, because I hear you on this 5 days that y'all have, right? We have T-minus 5 days before everything kicks off. You've put it together in a month. What we do at the end of each of our podcasts is talk about a wisdom in action and what we're doing for ourselves to be intentional about our health as we pour out to everybody else, right? So what are you doing to go from fried brain to thoroughly enjoying all this hard work that you are putting in and all the audiences you're about to be in front of?
So I never was really good at meditation. I just thought it made my brain scramble. And I have been taking 10 minutes every morning to meditate and stretch. And I'm an avid runner and cyclist. You can see me running and cycling and on the West Side Beltline, on the East Side Beltline, all up and down Main Street through East Point, all the way to the West End to Buckhead. And, shout out to Bonafide Cycling Crew and Dope Peddlers and Red Biking Green and everybody else. But I just would not take a moment to just stretch and meditate. And that's the time that I take to hone into myself and to pray. And I believe that we are our own God body energy. And I just used to suck at so that every morning now, before I touch my phone, before I hug my dog, my partner's already gone. She's a 6 a.m.er, so she already kisses me and she's gone. But Before I do anything like check my bank account, anything logistically, then I take 10 minutes and sometimes more, but never less anymore. And so I get into myself, and now I've gotten into the practice of running in the morning instead of waiting till at night and taking all the stress with me. I start my day with getting into myself, and that's the way I talk to God. So it's been great. I've been able to balance out my thoughts that way.
Beautiful. I love that. My partner was asking me why I was up so late this morning. It was like 5, and I got home a little bit earlier. Like, what were you doing? I said, spending time with myself. You know what I mean? Like, had to reset after the speaking engagement, stuff that happened yesterday, work, all this stuff. And I love what you said about running in the morning, because I've been thinking, does it matter morning, afternoon? I do like the morning instead of taking the stress with you. And I like the no less than 10 minutes, like a stopping point, just like you're trading or something. Like, this is the stop. It's got to have that 10 minutes. Okay.
Yes.
Floacist.
You definitely do that.
What about you? Y'all have all these stops. What are you gonna do to pour into yourself?
Yeah, that's
To journal every day. That's one way. That's one way. We decided
Okay.
to journal for 30 a day.
Well, as we all have had interesting journeys from, to 2020, when such shifts happen in the world. Part of my shift was I had an experience with breast cancer. Prayerfully and gratefully, I'm so happy to say that I am 4 years in remission. And all things are bright and clear. But I tell you, there's nothing like about breast cancer to get your mind in order and to get your spirit right and to get things pretty clear. So, seeing as I have been granted and gifted more time, right? Seeing as that has been offered to me on a plate and I'm very aware of it, I operate in a space of gratitude. Before I open my eyes, I give thanks for consciousness. I give thanks for the awareness that I'm still here. And in doing so, I find that, and I'm far from perfect. I am flawed. Sometimes my eye opens. I'm like, hey, and close it back. But when I do catch myself and I enter a day in this way, I find I more often than not, before I open my eyes, I smile. Right?
Beautiful.
Now, every day comes with what it comes with. It's going to give you what it's going to give you. But when you start there, you can find your way back there. You can find your way during the day to be able to center yourself with gratitude. I feel like it is the most incredible, superhuman fuel to be able to operate with. So, we've been going, we've been preparing so much. There's so much that has gone into this very short amount of time. And I'm so grateful for the opportunity to be amongst, to be in, to possibly inspire in ways that you have no idea. You don't know who's going to get what from what line or what word, but the creativity is intentional. So part of how I pour into myself is I try real hard to be present. I try to cure myself of pessimism every day because, the more numbers we get, the more experience we've had, the harder it is to not be that way. So, yeah, those are the things that I do to pour into myself. Those are the things that are done to pour into myself. And it's remembering that you are blessed and you've been considered. That's what I do. I remember.
Blessed and considered. Okay, hold on. I'm almost caught up with these notes, ladies. I take notes on all our podcasts.
I keep finding all these rocks that I've put into my purses and bags, and I know they're gratitude rocks, and I don't know what they are. They could be a tiger's eye or an onyx, or I'm not into rocks and stones, but I do know that I have picked them up along my journeys, and people have given them to me and said, hey, use this as a gratitude rock. And if nothing else, no matter what kind of stone they are, they remind me to be grateful when I run across them.
Yes, I hear you. And when I think about Floetry, I think about, you said 25 years. That means I was 6, right? It says 6, 7. Like, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Too.
But But I love it because you ladies open the door, like Women Connected in Wisdom. This is episode 190. And a lot of times you talk about the power of yes and no, so this softer acceptance of yes and the power to say yes and what that looks like in different situations. I would say that I am on the list of impact that you didn't know about, 25 years ago. So thank you so much for everything that you've done. I love it. We still enjoy the music and the intentional creativity. What were you saying, Floacist?
Oh, I was just acknowledging and giving thanks for that. I know that when I was making that record in 2000 and 2001, along with my homegirl Marsha Ambrosius, I was very aware that there was a connection being created. I know how I love and listen to music, my favorite art. And it's such a grand honor to be able to create something that goes out in such a way. I mean, I was 21 years old at the time, 23 when the record came out, very young, learning a lot myself. But it was definitely created with intention, as with all of my art. The Floetry projects, the solo projects that have followed, the project I have to come, the woman's words, the aspect that is mine to do, the aspect that is Sheba's. It's a blessing to possibly be an inspiration in any way. It's a very, very high honor.
I hear you. I understand. Yes, and I definitely agree with where you're coming from. Beautiful. So I know we brought you ladies on to talk about poetry. And I hear you on the, hey, y'all, we have a tour coming up. Meet us in Baltimore. Meet us in Chicago. Come see us at City Winery in Atlanta. Show up to the shows if you want to hear the poetry. So I love that this has been an opportunity to talk about you and your wellness and your journey. Our episode today is about financial wellness. And I know a lot of times when we're coming from...
God, that's so amazing. Oh my God, that's so in alignment.
Yeah.
Oh my God, we were talking about that. We've been talking about that for 2 weeks.
Tell us why.
Because as an artist, especially as a poet, and I hate to say, oh my God, matter of fact, we were just talking about this today with I guess they're called a vendor. We hired a vendor to do something. I don't even want to be specific. We hired a vendor to do something. And at first the vendor was very gung-ho, like, yeah, and the vendor knows us, like all of us. Like there's several of us in the team, right?
Right.
And was very gung-ho, was like, yeah, sure, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, let's do it. Da, 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 da. With a price tag, and we were fine with the price, right? And at first, and then the second kind of iteration was, well, I don't know if blah, blah, blah. And I was like, and then I always ask, I always say, am I tripping? Like, I always ask, like, am I?
Right, got you.
Did everybody hear this? Like,
right.
So then it came up today a third time, and the vendor was like, yeah, well, I don't really, after this round of vending, I don't really want to deal with poets unless they're my peeps. And I was just like, first of all, I'm a human being with a business that happens to do poetry, young man.
Right.
And I thought I would, and I said, but I always put it on myself. Did I do something to offend you? Did I say something to offend you? Did we do something as a team did we not pay you in a timely manner? Did we not adhere to your payment price point or schedule?
Something. Right.
And the answer was no, you didn't. You were fine. And I'm like, so then he apologized. The vendor apologized and was like, you're right. And it's funny, Floacist is the third person in our team. Her name is Avita. She was like, he must have had a bad experience and brought it into the new relationship. And his apology that he sent me privately said, wow. I've dealt with poets that's always trying to lowball me. And I said, well, there's different tiers to everything in life. You deal with, I said, it's not just poets, it's everybody. I mean, and on top of that, everybody wants the best value for their dollar. So just because you might feel like somebody's lowballing you, they might be trying to, but just because somebody negotiates with you, that's not necessarily lowballing you. And I don't want to hear when people are like, oh, you don't try to lowball when you go to Macy's. Oh, yes, I do. Yeah, I'll give out my Clark Atlanta card. Do you give student discounts, military discount? Yes, I do try to negotiate. Absolutely, I do. 100%. So and we're talking about health, especially when it comes to people of color, because we don't talk, especially artists. And me and my friend, who's an engineer, we're talking about this, and she's 10 years younger than me. Artists, we don't talk enough about what people are paying us to see if we're on the right path, if we're on the right trajectory. It's always a big don't. And the promoters and the promoters and the curators are always like, well, don't tell them what I paid you. Why not?
Right.
Are you not integral, or what is happening? Or is it the artist is lowballing themselves so much that they're afraid they're getting something so low that the next person they feel like would get more? Either way, there should be an open and honest, integral discussion about what the artist and the venue and the curator and the promoter are paying, so that we can make sure, and not like a union or anything like that, which I did try to start, that all the artists shot down. But they did, because they wanted to lowball it. But anyway, that's a whole nother podcast. But anyway, but I think that we should be more open about, hey, you know what? I don't even have my glasses on, but hey, if City Winery, Floacist, did they try to hire you for a 60-minute set? Oh, what did they pay you? Because if they're trying to pay me $5 and they paid her $35, then I want to email City Winery and be like, okay, what is it that I need to do? Don't put it on her. What is it that I need to do to earn the $35? It's still not the other artist's fault, and it's not their position to try to get you to that place. It's still on you, but it needs to be an open and honest conversation, and it never happens. It's always like, oh, don't tell. It's like, why are we not talking about this? Why is it a big secret? I don't understand what the big secret is. I talk about it all the
pay
time.
gap.
That's what I was going to say, Shannon, the pay gap. I agree with you,
Come on now.
Sheba. I think it's also this thing that for years, I still hear it, and I laugh when I hear it. But, people always try to hire artists for like almost nothing and say, oh, but the exposure you'll get. And I'm like, I would love it if exposure would pay my gas bill, because it does not.
Georgia Power is not worried about it.
Right. And so also having what I say to especially women and people coming behind me is that we're working artists, or we're teaching artists, or we're this. And if we don't value ourselves and name a price that is sustainable for us, then we lower it for everybody. And
That's right.
Let's
You messed up
value
the whole
ourselves.
game. You messed up the whole game for everybody. That's
Value
right.
is a
Because
very
as soon as you
important
take
word.
$5, then that person's gonna think, oh, well, I can. And not only are they gonna think they can get, as soon as you lower yourself with an amazing talent for $5, they're gonna think they can get your caliber of talent for $5. And then when they get Sally Sue, who sucks at whatever genre, we'll even call it visual art or EDM, something that none of us on here do, right? So they're going to think, oh, I can get Sally Sue for $5 and then she'll be amazing too. And then when she sucks, they're going to be like, oh, all EDM artists suck. And that's what happens, is that they get this poet who sucks and they're going to be like, oh, poetry sucks. No, you just paid the wrong person the wrong price. But for whatever reason, we have this conversation all the time of comparing, unfortunately, singers to poets. Why people around the holidays or whatever, they don't hire poets like they hire a band. But they can hire a poet with a singer, but they just don't think about it. Because singers make you cry, singers make you laugh, poets make you cry, poets make you laugh, but they don't think, oh, let me hire a poet with a band. They don't think that. They're like, oh, let me get a singer because people can sing along with a singer. Well, guess what? I can hire a singer to sing with me the same hooks that the singer was going to sing anyway, and just add my poems. But people, I don't know. Child, we could talk about this for hours. I could go on.
I think
Really,
I'm
a
really
really
passing
important
it up.
word was brought up, which is value. And the interesting thing about value, about business, about everything is, in all truth and reality, you're never going to get paid for the most important work that you do in your life. Whether that's being a mother, whether that's being a friend, whether that's being a member of your community, whatever it is, like the really most serious, impactful pieces of work that we do in our lives, usually you're either not going to get paid for or you're not going to get paid enough for, you know? So we get into the recognition of value and knowing your own value and knowing what it is that you bring and what you apply.
Hey, y'all, this is a great place to take a break, take a deep breath, and hear from our awesome sponsors that make Women Connected in Wisdom podcast possible. Shannon, we are so grateful that Shayla Glow is the sponsor of the Women Connected in Wisdom podcast. And I wanted to take this moment to ask you, when you think about the people who use Shayla Glow, who are we talking about?
That's a good question. I think about 3 groups really. One, the group that's removing hair, right? So whether you're using laser hair removal, waxing, shaving, you got to make sure that you're putting back what you're taking out. The second group, I think about those with dry skin and the problems that might cause, right? The scars, itching, burning, whatever the situation is, you definitely need all 3 steps, right? The exfoliation, making sure you're taking the dead skin cells off. The oil, putting in the moisture, and then the shea butter with the aloe, sealing it, helping you heal. Those things help both groups, right? And third, for the third group is those with chronic illness. You know, the story is personally from cancer and different diseases that our population is dealing with on a daily basis throughout families as individuals. So I'm thinking about my mom and my grandmother and those around me with the same generational ties, right? And what positive, healthy habits we can start to make sure that we're maintaining our wellness, especially because the skin is like the cape, the exterior, the shield for your immune system. So with COVID, we have to be intentional about covering ourselves. And those are the groups I think about.
I love it. And you know what else I love about your product? It's all natural, handmade, and it smells great, y'all. So
yes, esthetician tested. Yes, esthetician tested and approved. Yes. What about you? When you think about your company, what groups of people do you think about?
Well, you know, I work with individual coaching clients. I work in community classes and with corporate teams. And with all of them, I use a strength-based embodied approach to help folks connect with themselves and access joy, reduce burnout, and build resilience. You know, especially during these times, I think we need it. I think we need all the hashtag partnership power we can get.
Yes.
Now, once you know your value, it's up to you to negotiate what you want to negotiate. It's up to you to be charitable, pro bono, charge the top whack, charge a middle dollar, pay in kind. You know, what tends to happen though is, unfortunately, we've been in a cycle of belief of negative trading. So, you know, there's a lot of people who say things like, oh, it's just business. The reality is business is about doing what you said you were going to do, being true to your word. It's about relationships. That's how business really grows. It doesn't grow from robbing people and not giving people what they're worth and not giving them their value. That's not business, you know? And unfortunately, whether it's propagated or whatever reason, I don't know. Sometimes we look at the minority and the stereotype is usually what's studied rather than the actual medium, the actual reality of life, how people get along, how people interact, what makes a business really grow. So we're quite often looking at fringe extremes, far left, far right. That's usually kind of what gets promoted, when the reality is in that center space, in that balance. What you have is knowing your own value. What you have is doing what you say you were going to do. And then you have that build and that interaction. Sheba was talking about communication, extremely important. Having conversations. It can be difficult to have conversations when everybody in the room has got PTSD. Everybody's getting triggered. Everyone's had a bad experience. Everyone's been through the worst. But, you know, you're going to have to be the difference that you want to see in order to make any changes in this lifetime. And that's in anything.
Come on,
That's in
Stuart.
business, that's in health, that's in growth, that's in anything. And you're going to have to be brave. And you're also going to have to be honest about the fact that there are decisions that can be made that make things better. First of all, stop working with people who don't deserve you, you know? Stop investing in
You don't
things
have
that
to.
yeah, you don't have to. Stop investing in things that you don't believe. Find your people, find your community, find your tribe, like invest in
Find
them.
your tribe. Your
And
tribe will
and
find
and
you, actually, when you're integral.
and once you know your value, I had when I when I when I do good for a year, going into a new year, sometimes I'm delivered a mantra from my soul space, my safe space. The presence of the Most High may give me something to kind of operate on. And 2015, no, 2016, going into 17, the mantra that came to me in my prayer space was to learn the value of enough. Learn the value of enough. Right. And I walked with that for that year. And you know what's so funny? Sometimes you need $5, but you want 5,000, you know? Sometimes, sometimes you need 5,000, and you get 5,000. Not 5,010, not 5,050, not 6,000.
Yeah.
And if you can recognize the value of enough, you have the ability to negotiate with yourself what you need, what's covered, and then you have the ability to decide what you want to apply and what you want to give to get to where it is that you're going. So I think there's some of that. There's especially in this summer times, I've had enough cycles now where that level of responsibility starts to come in, and you start to realize, let me not just concentrate what's been done to me. Let me look at how I can do what I need to do better. Let me really power myself up on being able to make better decisions and implement the knowledge that I may have gained. My dad would say, it's uni costs, those past situations that have occurred. What have you learned, and how can you apply yourself to not throw the baby out with the bathwater, figure out what you could do better, and then do it.
I like that you said responsibility. In my weekly membership writing class, called CODA, CODAW, College of Dynamic and Amazing Writers of all kinds, we talk about responsibility, and we teach the 10 questions that you should ask before taking a gig. And one of those questions, or a couple of those questions, are, you know, what is the pay structure? When is the pay structure? Because sometimes, the pay structure isn't that day. It's not in cash anymore because people don't have cash anymore. They pay from a corporate structure, even if it's a small business, such as how the Floacist and I have set up our pay structure and our small business, Black woman run corporation. And you also want to ask, what is the ticket price? What is the scale of how I'm being paid? We talked a little bit about that before. And then once you've decided on your value, which the flowist has just talked about, and maybe you show up and you're like, man, I should have asked for $5 more or whatever it was, then you can't short the show because now you're upset. You still have to your 1,000,000%. And that's the responsibility that you've taken on as an artist. So that's integral. And you have to do it for 1,000 people.
Right? Queen
Or
Sheba,
dollars.
can you say again about your community and what it's called and how people can find that?
Sure. Yeah, it's called CODA, CODAW. It used to be called College of Dope Ass Writers, but when I went to go when I went to go make it an LLC in Georgia, then you have to verify that you're a school. And I was like, oh, yeah, no, we're not a school. We wanted to call it that because we wanted to be cool. So we're called the College of Dynamic. Plus, wanted to be, we could talk about it on video and podcast. So it's College of Dynamic and Amazing writers, and everybody's welcome. It's so funny right now. We have a member that does not write at all, but she dropped in. The drop-in price is $25 a week. 25 times 15 is like $1,300 a year, but the annual price is $350 a year. I give away something every week that's worth more than $1,300. Yesterday, I gave away a college list that you could book as an artist to go perform. Last week, I gave away a spreadsheet that had over 400 current and active podcasts on it that are looking for guests. I give away a lot of very valuable things every week. And then we go over each other's writing, whatever that writing is. It doesn't have to be poetry at all. It could be people are working on their novels, on magazines, on plays, on anything. And people are releasing books. I've had members in there since we 2018 in my living room that was going to happen. So we went to virtual, and people like virtual. I only take 100 mentees a year. People are always asking me, can you be my mentee, my mentor? And I'm like, well, I have this weekly, group that I have. And then people are like, what do you mean you only take 100? I'm like, every week, every year we start over. And January 1st to December 31st, I take 100 people. Some people stay, some people bounce. That's fine. And by the time we get to November, December, when we have our holiday year, we usually get about 76 to about 80 people every year. And it's really amazing. They network with each other. And you can find us on Eventbrite. You can find me on Instagram. I have a channel on IG. It's called The Queen Sheba Show. And that's where I post most of how you can find out about Coda. It's really low key on purpose. This is not lights and glamour. It's not the, and that I curate with 300 to 500 people. That's not that. This is honing your craft, sharpening your sword. This is what you do without the camera so that when you go stage. So just DM me on IG, or you can find it on my website, actually, which is thequeensheba.live.
We will put all that in our show notes. Floacist, anything you want to shout out? Anything that you want our listeners to know about in addition to this upcoming concert series?
Well, one of the things that's so interesting about our alignment is I'm in the UK, I'll be coming out to the US for the tour and for much more. I have an event here which is called Flow Vortex, which I've been running for the past we're in our 11th year, and a collective of poets who I mentor called the Flow Poet Collective. I'll shout them out, but there are a few things that are being worked on in the process right now. Honestly, the major focus is a woman's words, and the many things that we'll be doing with that, the retreat and the retreats and the workshops and so many other things. I'm very much in a space of renewal. So there are things to come. It's kind of a keep your eyes on this space. And in this current moment, I'm just completely and utterly focused on A, getting out there, and then B, being the vessel that I'm being called to be in this present moment for a woman's words. And so many things that Sheba and I are in the midst of working on and creating and curating. I do have a book coming out soon, which will it's a memoir of sorts. And I also have a membership that I will be, putting forward and releasing, but nothing really to plug right now, other than to say it can come out on Monday the 7th in Atlanta. It's going to be a very special space. It's going to be one of those Were You There's. We're making a live album that will be coming soon. That we will be putting up for Grammy consideration. Every energy in the room will be a part of that. And there's plenty more. This time next year, we intend to have a Woman's Words festival happening. As we said, the retreats are growing and building, and much, much, much more. I mean, this is what's happened off of a 4 to 5 week run. Sheba, Lord only knows what's going to happen when we're in the same space.
So many good things. So many good things. Ladies, I want to check in on your time real quick because I know it was supposed to be like a jump in and jump out, but you have made this episode flourish in ways. Oh my goodness, it's been amazing. How are you on time? Are you okay to finish the rest of the time, or do either of you have to jump?
Well, I'm illegally driving while on a podcast.
And I plead the fifth. I plead the fifth. Okay. Okay.
I can share a bit more with you. I'll stand
we
in
would
for you.
love that. Yeah, and we'd love to hear a little poetry if you've got some that you can share with us.
Oh, I've always got some poetry. I mean, we'll see. Yeah. Sheba, you jumping off? What are you doing for your illegal driving?
We'll see you
I'm gonna
Monday.
at least. Yes, I'm at least gonna put my camera off so I can put it down in its proper phone place.
Yes, got you. Okay, we're here with you. No problem.
Actually, I should leave her on the
Yeah,
stage so in
leave her
case
on
she
just in
wants to
case she
say
says
something.
something.
Because if she goes into the green room, we can't hear.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, Floacist. And again, we talk about being conversational on the podcast. I'm okay if you say, you know what, ladies, I thought I wanted to share some poetry. I don't feel like it. Whatever you want to do. How do you feel? You have something that you would like to share with our listeners?
We'll see if it comes through. Let's continue to commune until something pops. Something will pop. You know, I'm enjoying the conversation for now.
I love it. What I've been thinking about is two different things to ask you, ladies. When we talk about financial wellness, I love where this conversation has gone as far as artists and, again, businesswomen, right? Leading teams, leading systems internationally. I just saw this video about having to be mindful of the space in between projects, right? So we were thinking about talking on the topic of financial wellness, starting with less than $5, right? You, Floacist, had an example earlier about 5,000. When you think about the ebbs and flows of in between the projects and where you've been over the last decades of your career, what would you say to some of our listeners who are looking for resources about how to center their mind in a healthy place? Where do you live with it?
Oh, it's a very valid and important question, I feel. I'm a creative. I've been a self-employed creative person for a long time now, really, for close to 30 years. And look, this isn't going to be for everybody, but I'm going to share it for who it's for. I believe deeply that our gifts are for our health first. Spiritual health, our mental health, our physical health. So I don't necessarily measure my life and my experiences in dollar amounts or sterling amounts. I measure them in wellness. And I think it's very important for us to find the humility to understand the ebbs and flows of life. There was a point in my life where every day I was picked up by a car service. Every week I was out on a tour bus and an award show. And, you know, after the Grammys, we used to go to Prince's house to jam all the time. And we were working with Michael Jackson and Earth, Wind and Fire and Patti LaBelle and Stevie Wonder and Roland. And just, I mean, I was opening for people that I used to listen to their music. You know, I was out on the road with Erica Badu and Jill Scott, Queen Latifah, and everything was absolutely beautiful and deserved and worked for. You know, none of this was just, it's all really, I went to performing arts school. I'm a trained performer. I've, you know, traveled my family, the journey towards these situations. And I remember in the midst of it all, you know, in a real prayerful space, thinking to myself, you know, this isn't real. It's really happening. It's really happening. I deserve to be here. I know how I got here. I know my worth. I know what I've put in. But at no point in my life am I going to judge myself by this occurrence.
Right.
At no point in my life am I going to say that if it doesn't remain this way, that life is now no good. As an artist, I don't run from life. So there are ebbs and flows. There are times where you're on the stage. There are times where you're in life, reaping the rewards and digging the harvest for what you're going to create, which is going to take you on these incredible journeys where you tour and meet people and travel the world and so on and so forth, which is a reality of a state of creativity or the business of creativity. But when those times call, when things shift, I don't know, you may become a parent, you may deal with grief, you may lose somebody, you may have to be called to a piece of attention, a family member becoming ill, you may become a carer, you may have other things that come up.
Right.
That is as much about the success of life as building a business and
Yes, it is.
move on and negotiation and success. So I try to seek a balance in it all. Sometimes we glorify certain things and we don't salute the ability to maintain a job, maintain a lifestyle, provide for your family, provide for yourself, and maybe not be able to color outside of the lines all of the time, but provide the nourishment and the nurture and the security of raising people who grow up to be incredible people. I want to salute the people who forever have to stay within those confines and those lines, but do the most incredible jobs and maybe
Yes.
raise tomorrow's doctor, lawyer, CEO, someone or such, and are a part of their humble beginnings. So I say that to say I see the value in all different states and stages, as I do in my own life, where sometimes it's very isolated and it's very reclusive and high on resurgence, regaining, creating. As a creative, you have to, dreams are achievable. So you have the responsibility of dreaming more and figuring out what's the next thing to do. What's the next song to write? You don't want to write the same poem for the whole of your life. I feel right now that we're in a time of solutions and we stand on the shoulders of the revolutionaries. I think that we're in a time right now where it's not just about knowing how to break things, it's about knowing how to fix them, and I think that we need solutions and we need fixes. I think that we need healthy business and structures, and we need to delve in the knowing better. We need to be okay with applying our craft to our community and maybe not always just, $1 million, haha, and going and trying to take over the world all the time. I say all of that to say, I salute everybody in their different journeys. And I recognize what it takes to answer all the different callings. We're not all called to do the same thing, but we are all needed to do what we are called to do. So I think support networks are very important. Being able to communicate with others who understand what it is that you're dealing with and maybe share the calling or the inspiration that maybe you have. So finding a way to either be in those spaces, or if you don't have those spaces, create them. Whether they are small chat rooms, whether they are WhatsApp groups, whether they are a coffee shop where you arrange a gathering with people and you just come together. Being the difference you want to see, I think, is a very important thing. A lot of business solutions come from seeing something that's needed and knowing that you can meet that need, and it can be a lonely walk, it really can. In fact, you say you wanted a piece of poetry, you go awake. You greet another day with the choices that you make. Decide what you will leave, decide what you will take. Decisions are the key to release what you don't need. If you're gonna let it be, then you have to let it be. Be mindful not to keep the residue of anything that had you feeling weak, like what was said versus what you think. Sometimes your own assumptions are the weights that make you sink. You're feeling down, and it can be an addiction. Getting up can be filled with hesitations. It takes determination. Don't fall for the distractions. These attractions that are tugging on your soul, they're asking you to stay when you know you have to go. Know the things you know because your path is just your own. Lessons will be lessened if you listen to their fear, hear your truth, keep it near, and then you just breathe. Avoid all this confusion. Refuse this illusion that your destiny is not blessed. Yo, it's your time. No matter who came before you, don't let them weigh you down with the pain of your past. Shape your own mind. It's irrelevant if relevance is measured by the elements without bearing a reference to your own kind, earthling. You may find that we're living in an era that can't be defined by those who thought that this was the end, or by those who thought that their enemies would win, or by those who let paranoia turn them inside out. Do you know what this life's all about? Do you remember before anyone taught you to feel as if life, it was never going to treat you better than a lesser, but that was in the prequel. What about now? You took it in, so let it out and breathe. Now, you can do anything you want to do, anything that your heart truly chooses. It may be a lonely journey, but it's yours, it's your purpose. You may have to leave some things behind, and you may have to change your mind, and you can't take everybody with you, but they'll be better off for having known you. So just breathe. You gotta let it go so you can grow. You gotta let it go and just breathe. You gotta let it go so you can grow. You gotta let it go and just breathe. I told you so, right?
Thank you so much. Yeah. Beautiful. Oh, we're gonna ring the victory bell on that one. That's
Right?
victory bell. Okay, that's
Oh
on the
my
playlist at least
God.
once a week. Yes.
I can't wait until Monday. Like, this is gonna be awesome.
It's gonna be
It
good.
is gonna
And
be
I'm working
awesome.
right now. I'm trying not to have the not the fear of missing out. There's not fear, but it's like, let's see what we can do. But
Right?
thank you for
Mm,
sharing. I'm super excited for you ladies and excited to be able to support the tour and everything that you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
absolutely. It's a pleasure. I look forward to seeing everyone that we get to see. It's something very special being set up. It's very original. It's straight spoken word poetry. Sheba has a set for you. I have a set for you. We've both been working on it. I'm really looking forward to sharing something new. Very solutionary, very forward moving, very grateful, and
Mm.
inspiring, hopefully.
Well, and I think timely too. With what's going on in our world, I mean, timely. Like,
Yeah.
we look to the artist in these times.
Really.
And
Yeah.
one of our Women Connecting Wisdom authors and friends always says, we have to make art out of what happens to us. Like, we don't get to choose what happens, but we got to make art out of it. So I can't wait to hear your art on Monday. And thank you so much for taking the time to be here. We have listeners in the UK, so we'll
Yes.
try to tag
Yeah.
them
Yeah.
and let them know too to connect with
Awesome.
you over there. But safe journey to the States,
Yes.
Thank you,
and
man.
all that goes well and smooth and restful. And we're just so delighted to meet you and be connected.
We give thanks. Thank you for your time. It's been appreciated, and God bless your listeners also. And can't wait to see who we get to see on Monday. Tickets are
Yes.
available.
Thank you so
Awesome.
much.
We'll put a
Yes.
link in our show notes, and we'll shout it out on our socials.
We'll stay
So,
All right.
connected. Thank you,
Oh,
Floacist.
oh my
Oh,
gosh, what a great unexpected episode.
so fun.
So fun. Y'all, we will put all the links in our show notes. We will make sure you can get connected and get those tickets. And
Yeah.
City Winery is a great venue also. So
it
that
is.
is that's so fun too.
It
So,
is. And I
right.
know we talked about it earlier with our guests, the wisdom in action. We did it a little different than we usually do, right? I love how
Right.
this conversation has flowed. What about for you, Christine? What are you doing for your wisdom in action?
Oh, I wrote down a couple of things from that show.
Me too.
I did hashtag power myself up,
Mm.
that one, and then hashtag craft to community. That was wild. I love that one. And there was also what she dropped in that last poem, like know the things you know.
Mhm.
I was like, ooh, ooh, yum, right?
Yes. I
Yum.
love the knowing your value. you know, and that's in a couple of different ways. One, went to the store the other day, right? We're almost done. I had all this stuff in the cart. System had a glitch, had to re-ring everything up. And I asked, woman came over, attendant came over. I said, or is there some type of something we could do for the inconvenience? I like to make $17 a minute. And she looked at me like, that's serious. I'm serious. You know what I mean? But $17 a minute is not anywhere compared to the goal that I have for making when I'm speaking, but knowing that I'm looking forward to speaking for free still and doing different things, paid sometimes, free sometimes. I love what she said about what Floacist said about you'll never get paid for the most impactful work that you do. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with the ebbs and the flows of it. Yeah. Yeah. So if you guys have been listening, we've been talking about volume 3. And what we do is hold the door for people, right? So the doors are still open. We have a goal, 24 authors who want to share their stories, share their resources in volume 3 of our Women Connected in Wisdom volume. So if you have a story and a resource, a business you would like to share, if you know an amazing woman who's been doing amazing work for years, decades, and she should be connected with Women Connected in Wisdom, get us her information, send her our information, whichever works best. We'll get her plugged in and caught up to where we are on the timeline.
Absolutely. Join us, y'all. Community,
Yes.
we have classes, we have how-tos, really affirming, diverse, supportive, and it's just fun. It's fun. Come be a part of the fun.
It is. Okay, y'all. Thank you so much for being part of episode 190, and part of our seasons, right? We'll be here live at 5 next week, Eastern Standard Time, right? In the meantime, don't forget,
be well,
be wise, and be whole. Peace.
Thanks for listening. This has been the Women Connected in Wisdom podcast. On air live on Wednesdays at 5 p.m. Eastern via Facebook and YouTube. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Be part of the conversation and get connected at womenconnectedinwisdom.com.